Hey, my name is Jonathan Helm, and in this video I'll show you how to run a regression with an interaction term. So for this video I'm just going to do a two-way interaction, and this will build on the previous video. So I'm looking at predicting salary from the number of publications and the number of years on the job. And as you can see, I'm just going to build from the previous video. So I've already mean-centered the two predictors, number of publications and years on the job. And so what I need to do is I need to create an interaction term. And an interaction term should just be the product between two different variables. So I'm going to create a new variable, and I'm going to call this pub C, and then by year C. And that will just be the product of the two mean-centered variables. So we'll take data $ number of pubs, and I'll multiply it by data $ years job. And remember that I'm using the mean-centered versions, right? So these are the mean-centered versions that I used from the video before. So if I highlight this code and run it, and then I look at the top of the first 6 rows of the data set, now I have a new variable here, right, pub C by year C, which indicates the product term between number of pub C and years job C. Right, so this is that interaction term that I'll enter into the equation. So now I'll run the regression. Using the two-way interaction term. So we'll call this model.o1. I want to predict salary from an intercept slope times number of pubs, slope for years on the job, and the slope for the interaction. All those variables are in the data set called data. Okay. So what does this code look like? Or sorry, what is this code communicating to R? So it's the same thing that we've done before. Okay, we have an outcome variable that we're predicting from our regression analysis. And it's going to estimate an intercept. Right? It's going to estimate a slope for number of pub C. It'll estimate a slope for years on the job, and it'll estimate a slope for the interaction term. All of these variables, salary, number of pubs, years on the job, and the interaction term, all of them can be found in the data set called data. Right? So for example, when I do head of data, that's where all these variables will appear here. And this NA action equals NA exclude is communicating to R that if you run into any values that have missing data, then go ahead and leave those rows out of the analysis. So I'll highlight and run that. I can take a look at the summary of the outputs. And we see that we get significant effect for the slopes and a non-significant interaction term. And so usually when individuals are looking at interaction terms, you're testing the hypothesis of moderation, right? So usually what will happen is the researcher will identify a moderator. So let's say years on the job is the moderator. So the researcher is hypothesizing that the relation between number of publications and salary, that slope, is going to vary depending on the number of years on the job the individual has had. Okay, so if we identify years on the job as the moderator, then we can test the moderating effect using one of these interaction terms. However, this one comes out as non-significant, right? So we don't have evidence to indicate, or at least not strong evidence to indicate, that there is a moderating effect of years of job on the relation between number of publications and salary. Okay, so anytime you want to run an interaction, right, it's just a simple extension of the regressions that we've done before. Usually we mean-center the predictors before analysis, and then after we mean-center them, we can form these product terms. And once you have the product terms, then you can just include them in your regression model. I will say that it's possible to skip this step, right? So what you can do is you can just insert products directly into the model, and I don't recommend doing that just because there are certain cases in which R will give you results that you're not expecting. So I always say if there's a specific variable you want to use, so like in this case, we want it to be the product between two variables, then just create that product outside, like I've done up here, and then include that new variable in the analysis. So that way you know exactly what's going on, and you know exactly the terms that you're giving to R for your regression analysis. Great, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much. You can email me if you have questions at jonathanleehelm@gmail.com, and you can also follow me and harass me on Twitter at jonathanleehelm. Thank you.